Okay, so I am back in the saddle again. I think it's fairly safe to say that a lot has changed in the past few months. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, like, a couple of things. One, depending on how this video is actually filmed, why is this guy in the dark? Why is he in a shadow? Why does he look like he's a hacker? And these are very viable questions, but if you actually will for a couple of seconds, I actually will probably explain to you. Maybe I'm trying to get my Bond villain-esque on. Maybe I'm trying to do it in honor of Sean Connery. Maybe I'm trying to do it because it's an artistic choice. Or just simply put, because I was very comfortable in this position and it just happened to have no lighting. But who knows? Maybe this video turns out great. Maybe it turns out shit. Kind of like 2020, right? So let's get right into the topic at hand. Obviously, months have passed, hump days on top of hump days, flag days, whatever you want to call it. Everything has kind of all been, going to shit. Movie delays, everything. People say 2020 is kind of like one of the worst years ever. And don't get me wrong, believe me, from a personal standpoint, it's bad. Now, obviously, if you really want to go wider, the grand scheme of things, your worst day of 2020 is probably a day most people kind of dream of in other countries. So stop complaining and just kind of, take it as it is. Just kind of like suck it up. Now, don't get me wrong. Me being a movie fan, obviously, I fucking hate these delays with a fucking passion. I don't think I really give a shit about Wonder Woman, 1984 that much anymore. From Bond to, these Marvel movies to DC movies, whatever it may be, it doesn't really matter. Robert Pattinson looking great, whatever it may be. Things are just all over the place. Kind of like this video, but I'm kind of in a rush here, so bear with me. Now, when it comes to people saying 2020 is not that bad or 2020 is super bad, don't get me wrong. There's no Seth Rogen involved, but yeah, it is kind of super bad. In a way, no doubt about it. It's like, don't get me wrong, I think I've been blocked by most people because I kind of offended them in some sort of way, and that's a whole nother story and a whole nother video for another time. But we'll kind of get to the topic at hand here. 2020 really isn't that bad as much as I think people like to allow it to be. Obviously, it sucks. Things are going wrong. People are dying. Yes, those are kind of grand scheme things to say the least. But the way I see it is, I feel like it can actually be a little bit good to me. Now, one thing I think I kind of noticed about 2020 is that I think it really gave people a shot to kind of do something that they really didn't have a chance to do. Now, granted, if you're kind of just sitting there lazily and kind of wondering, well, where did all the time go? Well, it went by. As Ferris Bueller once said, life moves pretty fast. If you don't start and look around every once in a while, you might just miss it. So that's kind of how I saw it. Like one of the things I learned, I kind of learned how to cut my hair a little bit. This is in barber material per se. You can't really see it. And there it goes. The camera kind of fucked up because I'm in a shadow again. And then pops back on as soon as I put the hat on. It's almost like it loves this. Anyways, that's kind of my thing, basically. That became a decent barber because, like I said, once that runaway slave look starts kicking in, you really start to want to make a change here. On top of that, I started to kind of learn how to save money. I think a lot of people can learn how to save money. You start to realize that a lot of this kind of expensive shit from clothes or whatever didn't really matter that much. And it still don't matter. But people are still trying to be fancy and cool and be stupid enough to go to parties and, fuck that basically. Like to me, like I'm not antisocial, but I don't really give a fuck about many people. So 2020 just kind of kicked that into high gear. And I think I learned that about myself. So, it's all good and dandy. So if you don't really like people, great. I think this is a pretty good year for you. I think you learned how to save money, obviously. Like I literally have earned like enough to like put on the side that I think I never would have done because just I kind of put it in a whole bunch of stupid food and clothes and women. And that's another thing. I feel like dating is really a lot more easier these days. I think you get a lot more creative. I think you kind of don't have to waste time on people that just want free meals and shit. So, there's that. Um, yeah, I think it's easier to kind of separate the herd from the good ones to kind of just like the shitty ones. Just today somebody hit me up after kind of just like, passing me by. So 2020 is feeling pretty good. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling like, I could take on the world. Now, granted, I'm not feeling super strong to the point where I could punch a boulder like Chris Redfield in Resident Evil 5, but I do feel like this year isn't as bad as people want to make it out to be. But like I said, there's a lot of things you can do. You can save money. You can learn how to do something. You can just figure out a game. You can take up a hobby, whatever it may be. I feel like a lot of people are just kind of making excuses. And don't get me wrong. Look, I'm probably one of the most functional, lazy people you've ever seen in your life. But at the same time, I get my shit done when I need to get my shit done. That's just who I am. So do what you gotta do. 2020 isn't that bad. It's not over yet. Movie delays suck. You know, people dying suck. But when it comes to a personal level, you can still kind of change yourself in some sort of way, body, you know, financially, whatever. It's not that bad, like realistically. I'm just saying. But yeah, this video kind of went 5 minutes. I'm surprised it even went that long. But yeah, basically. Going forward on this channel, don't really know what I'm going to be doing. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that's kind of unfortunate. But like I said, for most things, I roll the dice on this thing pretty frequently. It's a bit of a randomness, but I think it would be a consistent random, basically. So going forward, we're going to be talking about online dating because I feel like I got a lot of stories from that. Also, you know, some segments called Tales from the Block List. You know, stories kind of leading up to me being blocked. So that should be fun. But yeah, that's it. This probably ain't gonna do that well for a video, but hopefully somebody was entertained and got a little bit out of this. But randomness, references, and overall fedoras. So that's my thing. Signing out. I am the BX Pope, so you've been blessed.